So I think Villanova. All right, good morning. Let's call the Rankin County Board of Supervisors meeting to order March 15th, 2018. Mr. Slade, do you mind if you would lead us in invocation to start us off? Good morning. I hadn't seen you yet today.
Let's pray. Lord, our thoughts and our mind comes to your presence here with us, and we thank you for being here, Lord, and we invoke your power and your presence in this place today, and I praise you, Father, for how you give us wisdom when we ask. Thank you for these gentlemen, Lord, and for the willingness that they have expressed to serve their fellow man. I pray, Father, that you'll bless them, that you will encourage them, and that they would feel a sense of accomplishment and pride in what they do here for our community. Thank you, Lord, for the people who serve this community, all of our first responders, Lord, those who keep us safe and protected. God, our thoughts and our hearts go to their families and the sacrifices that they make. I pray that you will bless them and bring them home safely. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen.
Great, thank you, Mr. Slade. Item number 3 on our agenda is public comments and recognition, and I believe we have a gentleman from Puckett Machinery here. Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
If you would introduce yourself to the board.
My name's Dean Hennigan. I'm the Vice President of Sales at Puckett Machinery Company here, based out of Flowood, Mississippi. And I wanted to come to discuss just a new event that came together that I'm not 100% sure that all boards are familiar with. On December 1st, the Department of DFA, the state, set up a cooperative purchasing agreement, and Caterpillar is now on state contract. So we've had a long history with Rankin County. We've bid and won a lot of business with you guys, and I believe it's been a mutually beneficial partnership, and we're looking forward to try to work with you guys in the future and help Rankin County. We know you guys are growing like crazy, and we want to be a part of that. But going forward, you will be able to go straight to the state and purchase Caterpillar equipment. Every model that CAT makes can be purchased straight from a state contract, which will dramatically reduce the amount of time and effort that it takes to get construction equipment. So we want to make sure you guys were aware of that. I'm available at any time if I can help the county. We want to be a big part of it. As you know, we've moved over our home offices now in Flowood, so we're Rankin County residents as well, and we just want to be a part of what's going on over here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, great. Mr. Gaines, you have?
I do.
Okay.
I would like to award an official NFL football to the champion of who come closest to picking the score right on our national championship game, and that would be Bob Morrow, the winner.
How about that? How about that? Chuck, you don't get a picture of that?
Glad you won something, Bob.
Yep, that's
There we go.
boy. That won't go away anytime soon.
Hey, we were going good for a little while, you know? We were going good for a little while, Jay.
One day he'll wear that.
Yep. When you least expect it.
There we go. Here we go.
And I'm going to say, he told you so.
All right. Anything else on public comments? Ms. Janice, do you have anything else? All right, so item 4 in regards to old business.
So moved.
Got a motion by Mr. Morrow to approval of the minutes for February of 2018, second by Mr. Bishop. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like signs. Item 4 passes. Item 5 under the consent agenda.
So moved.
A motion by Mr. Morrow, second by Mr. Morrison. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign. Item 5 passes. Item 6, Mr. Parker.
Yes.
And you were moving quick. You saw me coming to you.
Mr. Sullivan had him blocked in. I saw that maneuver on that chair.
That's all right.
Yeah, I saw that.
Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning, sir. I only have one item today, and that is on LSRP 61-4. We have a bid opening at this time. Just for your information, the roads that are included is Ainsworth Road, Old Highway 80, and what's the third one, Jake?
Ainsworth, Bethel.
Bethel is part of it. It's part of these roads, because this is the LSRP program, which is not as involved as the regular state aid program. This is where LSBP money can be utilized on local roads if the money's not specifically needed on a bridge at that time. So that's the reason it's the LSRP. So at this time, I'm gonna turn it over to Jake and Mr. Swales. They will read the bids, then they will take them to the back and check them, and verify them, and come back before the meeting is over, and Mr. Swales can make a recommendation.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
You want to put the microphone there for Ms. Oster?
Thank you. This is LSRP, project number LSRP 614, consisting of leveling, base and edge repairs, overlaying of 3 roads, installing striping, signage, and raised pavement markers. Engineer's estimate on this project is $488,171.75 for 88171.75. We received a certified copy of the notice of publication. We received bids. We received a bid from AJ Construction out of Madison, Mississippi. Certificate responsibility number 16569-MC. APAC, Mississippi. Certificate responsibility number 95. Dixon Bowen. Certificate responsibility number 12. And Walters Construction Company out of Laurel, Mississippi. Certificate responsibility number 06740. Any other bids out there we don't know about? Okay.
You brought a sharp knife.
This time.
Sometimes it doesn't work out that way.
Dinner number 1 is signed.
Whose bid is that? AJ. Bid AJ Construction. Yeah. The bid bond is provided by Federated Insurance. It is a 5% bond. It appears to be in order.
Affidavit for non-collusion, signed, notarized, and duplicate as required. E-verification number is in place, it is signed. Proposal is signed. And bid from AJ Construction is $590,461.13. 590,461.13.
Bid APAC.
Next bid is APAC, Mississippi. Dinner number 1 is signed.
Bid bond is 5% bond. It's provided by Federal Insurance Company. Appears to be in order.
Affidavit non-collusion. It's signed and notarized and duplicate as required. The verification number is in place. It is signed. Proposal is signed. Bid from APAC, Mississippi, $696,499.30. 696,499.30.
30 cents may get them.
Next bid is Dixon Bowen. Get number 1 signed.
Bid bid bond is a 5% bond issued on Hartford Accident and Indemnity Company. Appears to be in order.
They have a separate notary sheet. There's the notary writer. That's the fee. Yeah. It is signed, but it's not sealed at all.
This particular bidder failed to affix the notary seal. The notary signed it, but the notary did not seal the document. So that's an imperfection in the bid. It's up to the state to tell us whether or not we can even accept it. I don't think that we can.
I cannot even read that bid. It's
Okay.
a regular bid, we cannot read it. It's what properly filled out.
Oh, come on, we wanna know if it's cheaper.
I don't know how bad he hurt himself.
I might get sealed somewhere.
You got a seal back there, though.
Janice has one.
Janice has got a seal back there.
That's his quarter he is on.
I guarantee that was 400 or something.
Laugh and move on.
Okay, this last bid is from Walters Construction Company out of Laurel, Mississippi. Bid number 1 is signed.
It's a 5% bid bond issued by SureTech, SURETEC Insurance. Appears to be in order.
Affidavit not inclusive, signed, notarized, and duplicate is required. Your verification number is in place, it is signed. Proposal is signed, bid from Walters Construction. $656,997.60. 656,997.60. Thank the bidders for participation. Ask the board to take advisement.
Need a motion or something?
Need a motion to take under advisement.
Make a motion to take under advisement, Mr. President.
All right, so a motion by Mr. Morrow, take under advisement, second by Mr. Morrison. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed with the like sign? All right. We'll see you guys shortly then. All right, item number 7 on the agenda. Director Word, EOC.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Good morning.
I'm not sure if you got this in your pack or not, so I made copies for everything that's in there. I want to talk to you about this morning.
Thank you.
Good generators.
Yeah. They cost a lot.
For the past several years, at the EOC, we've entered into an agreement with Taylor Power Systems for a maintenance agreement on 6 generators. And I've just recently received the new contract for this year, and to do everything, it's up to $8,540 a year, which is a little more than the what I had on your papers for the other day, simply because I just received this. What these guys do is they come out twice a year. They will come out once, they'll change the oil, they will change the fuel filter. That's one service. At the end of the year, they will come back out again and they check all the fluids, crank it up, make sure it runs. They're supposed to be checking all of the computer systems to make sure this thing cranks up once a week, runs like it's supposed to for the allotted amount of time, all of these things. It's $8,000 a year. Back in December, I sent all the guys out on a Monday morning. The generator's supposed to crank up at 9 o'clock every Monday morning and run for 45 minutes. Sent them all out, not one generator cranked up. We called Taylor back, keeping in mind that we had just received the report back where they had went out and checked all the generators on their 42-point checklist. One of the things in there was making sure that the computer on this thing worked and it cranked up and did what it was supposed to do. So we called them and told them that the generators are not running. What do we need to do? Well, it took about 3 weeks of back and forth, and the outcome from Taylor was they told us, look, we've got a new maintenance agreement that's going to be coming out to you in March. We'll wait, get that one signed, and we'll be able to go out and check them. Okay, good enough.
Not really.
To make a long story short, here's what I've come up with. I agree 100%.
We were paid up, wasn't we?
Oh, absolutely.
Or did it
Absolutely.
come out that day?
And they won't do it. Would not.
Okay.
So,
Keep going.
here's where we are today.
Solution for that.
Come to find out, we have an employee here that works for Mike Harrison. I've talked to Mike this past week about this, Stuart Smith, who is, and in your package you'll see some certifications that he's got. He worked for AT&T for a number of years, their generator pool mechanic. He has got a lot of certifications from Onan generators, working on Taylor generators. You see all of that in your packets in front of you. So we have a employee here that has gained a tremendous amount of skills and knowledge and education on generator repair prior to his employment here with Rankin County. I've talked to Mike Harrison about this, of going in together and augmenting his salary from my 911 budget and get Stuart Smith to go out and do this work for us. The steps on this is going to be about a $1,300 a year raise for Stuart. It's a little over $100 a month. We would pay for the oil. We would pay for the filters. Obviously, we wouldn't ask Mike to take care of that. But at any rate, an estimated probably about $2,000, we can do this ourselves, and we know what we've got. I believe that this is the way to go. At least we know that our generators are being serviced. We know that if there's an issue, we can get it fixed or get someone that can help us get it fixed. I'm going to give you a case in point. Just because they find something, it's not covered under the maintenance contract.
Right.
This is not like the Motorola deal. We had 2 block heaters that were bad. The quote, and I've got it in there, was right at $1,000 for them to fix these 2 block heaters. We went and bought the block heaters ourselves and put them on for $300 instead of paying them $900 to come out and do the same thing, because they're charging us mileage, they're charging us time, they're charging us parts. Of course, they're obviously going to mark their parts up. I'm not telling you that there's some things that we may not need some expert technical help from a manufacturer. Generalized maintenance, I believe the way to go is to do this. We've got a guy on staff that can do it, and I think it would be only right for us, I'm requesting from the board just that I can augment his salary.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Again, a motion to approve.
Wait a minute, I got a question.
Let me get to discussion. Hang on a second. I got a motion by Mr. Bishop, second by Mr. Gaines.
I have a
Discussion.
question. Mike, what does Stewart do for us now?
Mechanic.
I mean, just jump.
Maintenance, our equipment, road equipment.
And so when something happens to the generators now, like this, that didn't crank, I mean, that was part of the service agreement deal, but when something actually happens, the service agreement we have now has no bearing to it whatsoever. We still have to contract out to somebody,
Yes,
be it
sir.
Taylor or whoever we decide to go that route.
Correct.
So, okay. All right.
And
Moment.
I've got other mechanics, also.
Sir?
I've got other mechanics that can also support me if we have trouble with the generator,
Okay, so he's familiar with the computer type, or how to check the computer
Yes, sir.
part of it, because I know that's the real technical part of the whole
That's
thing.
the thing.
Right.
And they just simply did not want to come out and do it until we signed the new agreement.
Well, they were paid to do that. My only question I had, just out of curiosity, let's just say this is more than he can handle or wants to do or whatever. Isn't this something that we can bid? I mean, Taylor doesn't have to be the one to service this, do they?
Oh, absolutely not.
Right.
None of these generators are under any kind of warranty
Okay.
whatsoever.
All right, that's what I
We
wanted to
could
make
we
sure.
could get anybody in the nation to come
Okay.
work on it.
All right, that was my other question. I didn't want to get locked into them if he couldn't fix it, and they then take advantage of the situation. Okay.
And some of these generators are 20 years old,
Right.
so they're not under any warranty whatsoever.
Okay, all right.
But it is incumbent on us to make sure that they're up and running. So.
Oh, I'm 100% on board.
All right.
Yep.
Ms. Oster, you have some comments?
Yes, can I get y'all's motion to include, to supplement the salary of Mr. Smith and from the 911 funds.
You good with that, Jay?
Sure.
On your motion? Steve?
Yep.
All right, so, good. All right, any further discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign? Thanks, Word.
All right.
All right, item 8, Mr. Sullivan.
Keep your seat, Mr. Sullivan. I make a motion to approve petition to change assessment 2017 real property assessment roll.
Excellent. Got a motion by Mr. Morrow, second by myself. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign? Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Mr. Harrison,
Morning.
good morning.
Request approval for utility permit AT&T to construct a DFP contract cabinet utility, Avalon Way, and Fannin Road. This is gonna be off that other permit we did over there in Avalon.
All right, so
Second.
motion by Mr. Morrow, second by Mr. Morrison. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like signs? Item A passes.
We take B and C together, they're the same company, C-Spire, Construct Fibers. One's on Old Fannin Road and the other's gonna be on Manship Drive in Garden.
So move.
This item B and C by Mr. Morrison,
Second.
second by Mr. Morrow. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like signs? Item B and C both pass. Item D.
D is gonna be authority to enter into agreement with Southern Environmental Group for the road department to have access to the landfill for vegetation debris removal.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Morrow, second by Mr. Gaines. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign? Item D passes. Thank you, Mr. Harrison.
Thank y'all.
Mr. Slade, good morning. Public hearings.
I make a motion we take A and B together for approval.
Okay, so got a motion by Mr. Morrow
I'll
to
make a
take
motion.
items A and B, second by Mr. Bishop. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign? Item A and B are set, Mr. Slade.
Good.
Item
Item C is our public hearing for our amendments to our Rankin County land use map and official zoning map. We have our friends, Dave and Gray from CMPDD here with us today to try to put a bow on this activity that we've been at for several months now. This is the official public hearing time to speak on the issue of the land use map and zoning map changes that have been publicized. So at this time, we will open that public hearing. I think, Mr. President, with your indulgence, I will ask, Dave, do you mind? I'll ask Mr. Wade to come forward and just give us a very brief summary of the changes that are being proposed. This is a county level change in mapping and in zoning ordinance to reflect issues that we have confronted, where at the time that the county initially adopted zoning in '04, there was a strip along highway commercial frontage that extended off of the right-of-way that was picked up as commercial, even though the underlying use of the property at the time was residential. And what we've discovered is that the property has not shifted from residential to commercial as quickly as was assumed in 2004. So we find that there are residential properties that are zoned commercial that are starting to change hands, and the individuals are confronting, finding out that it's difficult, if not impossible, for them to either refinance their residential property or to sell their residential property where there's a lender involved because of the underlying zoning problem. All right, so Dave's here to speak on that matter right quick.
Good morning, Dave. How are you?
Morning. Just to kind of reiterate what Craig said, and to give you some background, back in 2004, when the county initially adopted zoning, part of the planning process when we're doing land use planning is looking at areas considered to be transitional areas. And in other words, generally there may be residential areas that are along a major arterial road that are kind of transitioning more into commercial type uses. So as part of the planning process, we look at those areas and try to plan for those and zone those accordingly. I think especially in the Star area, we were probably a little over optimistic back in 2004, expecting more of that to go commercial, and it did not. It tended to remain residential. There were some other areas we were asked a few months ago to get with Renee's office and kind of evaluate all of the properties throughout the county, the unincorporated county, that were zoned something other than what they were being used for. Through that process, we identified there's only a couple, I think one on Luckney Road, one on Highway 43, that were actually miszoned, that was the wrong parcel. And I think that was a result of when John's office did the new parcel files, and we transferred it, his new parcels are more accurate, and we transferred it from the old parcels that were not. We've had a couple of errors on our part there, so we're trying to correct those. And then the remainder of it was just some area primarily in the Star community that remained residential, that we anticipated going commercial and did not. So through a series of meetings with the public, I think the board has been very open through the process and tried to include everyone that wanted to be included. And those that wanted to stay commercial, I think we tried to accommodate those as well. So,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
As Dave mentioned, and I want to reiterate, there has been a concerted effort to try to get the word out about this. We've had at least 2 community meetings in the Star community since that was the most affected community. There have been 2 community meetings. I know I was able to attend one. Jared, you've been to both. And so we've done everything that we can. Under the requirements of the law, we have to give actual notice to property owners who are adjacent to the areas that are under consideration for rezoning. And so those notifications have been made. There's been a posting of the properties by our building official department, and so a strong and concerted effort has been made to get the word out. And so at this time, what we will do is we will offer an opportunity for anyone that wants to speak on the issue of the rezoning to come forward. They need to state their name and their address for the record, so we have that. And then what we want to try to do is to limit our time with public comments and all that kind of good stuff. We'll try to keep it to 3 minutes per speaker. So at this time, we'll offer the podium to anyone that wishes to speak on the matter of the rezoning and the change in the maps. If you'll come forward, please.
I did.
It's kind of like
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Good. If you would, just introduce yourself to the board, please.
My name is Roderick Bell.
Okay.
This is my mother.
Good. Good. If y'all just give us your address also, please.
My address is 4191 Highway 49 South.
Okay.
Lawrence.
Mine is 4195 Highway 49 South.
Okay.
Ron Gray, 4195 Highway 49 South.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning. And, we would like our property to stay.
Hey,
residential.
step
One
over
of
to
you
that
needs to get to the
mic
mic,
if you can, just so we can hear you.
Yeah.
We would like our property to stay residential.
Right.
So, we don't care for it.
They're on there.
We got some letters for the rezoning, but we actually want ours to stay residential.
Did you get the letter?
Yes.
Yes,
Did you attend any of the meetings?
Yes.
I attended both of them.
Okay.
Well, I don't think we're gonna change you unless you wanna be changed.
They're commercial, but we are changing them to residential.
Oh,
They were at the, you were at the meeting and everything. That was all corrected there.
I believe, Ms. Renee, can you
Yeah.
explain to them?
Yes, you are currently zoned commercial, but we do have you on here to be changed to residential.
So you're
Like
home.
you requested.
You'll be
Yeah,
residential.
you received the letters like everybody, and you were attending the meetings. That was the whole intent for the meetings. And so, I think we got you covered.
Oh, okay.
From what, yeah, could have saved your trip. Thought you knew that night.
The letter was saying
Huh?
the letter was saying.
Yeah, they're making the
Yeah.
adjustment.
Yeah, but
Yep.
that was, yeah, because you got the second letter. You got the first one and the second one.
I
Yeah,
didn't get the first, I just got this.
that's,
Okay.
Okay.
All right, well, I think we got you straight
We,
then.
yeah,
All right,
got
thank
you
you
straight.
all.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank y'all for
Thank you.
coming.
Thank you.
In the absence of Mr. Slade, anyone else to speak in opposition? Sir? Yes, sir. Good morning.
I guess I'm next. We got land zone commercial. We don't want commercial.
I understand. It's
Name,
ten.
Well, I
Yes,
guess
sir.
we had filed it with them, and I'm not sure if we had to appear over here
Okay.
or what.
No.
Yes, sir. If you would, just tell us your name and your address just for the record so we'll have it, please.
Do what
Just
now?
give us your name. Tuffy, just give your name and address.
Jared will tell you. Yeah.
I live on Old 49, but got property extends all the
Yeah,
way back to Newport.
No, that's
I
fine.
understand
I
what
just
I'm saying.
need your name. Just give your name and your address.
Oh, Dan Knight,
Right.
248 Mangum Drive, Star.
Okay.
Gotcha. All right, go
That's
ahead.
all been taken care of, hasn't it, Renee?
I believe so.
Yeah, we
we had requested, but we never did hear anything.
Well,
It had been
because
changed.
you got it all changed, that was all done that night at the meeting, when we had the meeting.
Well, that's
Yeah.
all we got.
Okay, because there again, you were at the meeting.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Ms. Renee, you're good with that? Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, anybody else to speak in opposition of the rezone? Yes, ma'am. Come on up.
They were not there.
Morning.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning. If you would just
I'm
introduce.
Deborah Abels, and I'm not sure of the exact address, but it's on 49 South.
Okay.
And it's,
Tell me your name again.
Deborah Abels.
Abels.
It's under Manny and Deborah Abels.
Okay.
And we bought the property from Don Clyburn. It's a house and a little over an acre.
Okay.
And we bought it for our son. It's in our name, but it's our son's property. He's paying the payments, he's paying the taxes, the insurance, everything.
Sure.
But my question is, if we were told it's commercial. If it's commercial, we were told that the next owner cannot live on it, that it's not residential anymore. Well, we need, at some point, he needs to get a mortgage, and that property needs to be put in his name. But if it's not gonna be able to be residential, then where are we left?
I don't think that's right.
Well, I think, Ms. Renee, can you ad lib on that property?
Mr. Abels called. He's on the corner, I believe, of Humble and 49, or right there at Humble, isn't it?
Where's the property?
Okay.
I mean,
It's right there close to Humble Street, I do believe.
There's no street going near it. It's on
Okay, so it's
49.
on 49.
Yes, ma'am.
is it Don's old house?
It's Don Clyburn old house.
Which, he had two there over the time. Is it the one with the garage, shop? and
All the shops there, right.
Oh, that's not on Humble. That's just on 49.
Because when my husband called, he was told it was commercial and it couldn't be changed.
No.
Nobody could live on it if we sell it.
No, if you can, go ahead.
Anyway, Mr. Abels had called. They didn't come to any of the meetings. That was the
We didn't
first
get
I
any
had
notice.
heard from him, and it was not included on the list.
Well, wait a minute. My question is, it's not on Humble Street.
All right, well, it must be close to Humble.
It's on,
49.
actually,
It's not on any street. It's on 49.
no, it's just on 49. I mean, I know where the property is. It's the one, Don's old house.
Don's
with the,
old house.
The shop and everything on it.
Right.
Right.
There's two shop buildings and
Right.
a house and a separate
Right.
two-car garage.
Right. Well, I guess the only question is that she has, and correct me, can't they sell the house? Someone still live in the house.
As long as it stays residential, yeah, and that use doesn't change.
Well, I mean, if it's commercial and it's a house there, they can still sell the house.
But my son's gonna need a mortgage because it's a temporary loan in our name because he didn't have the credit references to get the mortgage at the time.
That's where
That he
I'm going
wanted
to
the
let
house.
the attorney get here. That's all y'all need.
If I may, the issue is not necessarily that it's zoned, that's what it is, it's zoned commercial.
It is,
They're
yeah.
living in it now as a resident, so it's obviously not an issue or challenge. The question comes in, whenever there is some sort of transfer of ownership, you potentially could have an issue created. Not because it can't be lived in as a resident, but because that buyer may need to go to the bank to get the purchase money. And the bank will say, tell me what the zoning is. And when they find out that it's commercial and not residential, they possibly, the lender may say, we're not going to make this loan. So it's an issue of a buyer and their lender. That's where the problem is. Okay? This board, on application from anybody in the county whose property is zoned one way and they need it to be zoned another way, this board can take an application to have that property rezoned if it meets the requirements. So at a point in time in the future, this board can take that piece of property under consideration and say, that is residential, it needs to stay residential, and we find that it's appropriate to make it residential and change it at that time, that one parcel, from commercial to residential. That is always going to be an option.
Okay. The same way we could take something that's residential and someone wants to sell it as commercial,
That's correct.
they petition to have it rezoned for commercial property.
That is exactly right.
Okay.
That's always available.
So
to you.
really you're not hurt legal, because correct me, I don't think at this point, we can actually change it.
Well, I'll make a motion that we do change it.
No, wait a minute.
Residential.
Wait just a minute.
I mean, you
Wait,
just said we could.
Wait, just a minute. If you explain, you
I
can't.
don't care about all that process.
So are they not on the list? Is that what the issue is?
They didn't make the list because they didn't know to go
We
to
didn't get a
meetings.
notification.
We got this letter for this meeting. That's the only notification we
Well,
got.
then y'all should be on the list.
Because they're an adjoining property owner within 160 feet of one that's being considered to
So
be
then we
rezoned.
just need to deal with this at another time. Okay.
But
So
the
we can do
reason,
what you
the
need to do.
reason
We just
is
can't
it
do
has
this
to be totally re-advertised for, what, 30 days or something, Renee?
At least about 2 weeks. 15
And
days.
send out a whole series of letters all over again, do the whole process all over again. But in your situation, as he said, it's not gonna hurt you or prevent you from just having it rezoned at the time you decide to sell it or deed it to him.
Okay.
And I can sit here now and tell you the board's not gonna, they're gonna be graciously willing to rezone it, commercial, residential. I know the property, I know exactly what you're talking about, so you're really not hurt at this point. It's not gonna prevent you later, at whenever time you wanna do it.
Yeah.
Because the problem is for us to be able to redo it today, we gotta start the whole process completely over again.
Okay.
And then the next time, it could be somebody else, same situation. Then the process goes and it's just a never ending. But with your property, with where you are, residents and everything there, I'm very familiar with it. I think you go home and sleep without, you don't have to worry about a thing. I mean, all you'd have to do is petition to have it rezoned whenever that day comes.
Trust us with the government.
And when he says this board, it doesn't matter to this board, any other board. I'm just saying, it's not a problem because you're truly residential.
Because, I mean, that's what he does. He lives
All it is
there.
residential.
No, I understand that, and I wish you had gotten somehow the notification to have been to the meetings, but in this situation, as any others, and just as I've said, some of them that are residential that might have wanted to go commercial, they can still come back in here at a later date. If the property came up for sale and they wanted it commercial, for a commercial whatever, and petition to have it rezoned commercial. So they're not technically hurt either. This just cleared up a lot of things, and we still got a few little ones here and there that probably slipped through the cracks, but it's not like it's in stone and never be changed. I mean, that's the way it's been all these years, and we didn't even realize it until, I guess it came up here in the last year, that throughout the whole county, there were pockets like this, and this particular area in Star had the greatest number of them, and that's the reason I tried to have, I had 2 public meetings, great turnout, some of the same people at both meetings, some different people at the second meeting. That's try to do, and that's really more than we normally do. Normally just put a notice out and that's it, but I tried to go an extra mile to try, because there's so many people involved.
Right.
But for you all, I want you, really, you can be rest assured that it's not like this couldn't be changed at a later date. It's just, I hope you understand, to do it now.
Okay.
It'll be never ending. I mean, we've been working on this for, we started on this 4 months ago, but in the last 6 weeks, 2 months is when we've really been active with meetings, et cetera. So.
Oh, we would have started attending the meeting if we had known about it.
Well, and if I'd have known, I'd have called you. I tried to notify different ones that I knew would be affected, or when I'd see them, and several of them came to my shop and would say, tell me about this. And so it was a really good turnout. One meeting, I bet we had 100 people there. And then I think the last one probably had, 50 or 60, good crowd. But anyway, at this point, I think the zoning, and he'd say, don't worry about where it is.
Well, like I said, we just want our son to be
Right.
able to get a mortgage
Right.
when he's ready to do it.
Well, at that
and get
time,
this house
he'll need
out
to
of our
come in.
name. It's not our house. We don't even live in it, but we have a temporary loan on it for him.
Right.
And we want him to be able to get a mortgage from the bank.
Well, then, Craig, correct me if I'm wrong, all he had to do then is come in here and then apply for a petition to rezone it, and then it'd come back before
Okay.
us and.
We can do that.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being understanding.
All right. Mr. Slay, I don't see anybody else speaking in opposition.
All right. With no other commentary, then we'll close that public hearing. At this time, it'd be appropriate to take action on your proposed amendments.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve.
All right, so motion by Mr. Morrison to approve. Second. Second by Mr. Bishop. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign. Item C passes. Item D, Mr. Slay.
Item D is going to be the adoption of our amended resolution of intent to annex the property into Lake Harbor Fire Protection District. We need to reset that public hearing for May 7th, and for consideration of matters of public convenience and necessity to expand the district. And I need you to give authority to the county administrator to publish the notice of hearing in conformity with that statute.
All right, so motion by Mr. Gaines.
Second.
Yeah. Second by Mr. Bishop. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign. So item D passes. Item E, Mr. Slay.
I specifically asked Ms. Janice to put this on the agenda because I want to bring it to your attention. This is a small potatoes item, but it's one that has kind of gotten under my skin, and I want to address it with the board and just make you aware of what's happening. And I want the public to be aware of what's happening as well. On our road projects, we've got two that are very active in process right now. Gunner Road is one, Andrew Chapel is the other. And oftentimes what we will find in our title work and in our communication and dealing with landowners about acquiring right-of-way for the expansion and improvement of our road projects, what we find is that there is a deed of trust, a mortgage, on the property, and a part of the process of getting the right-of-way cleared for county use is for us to acquire from the lender that has the mortgage on a piece of property a release of the mortgage partial as to the amount that's being acquired by the county. County doesn't want to acquire property from landowners that have mortgages on it, right? We don't want to be subject to a mortgage. So we get a release of mortgage. This has been something we've been doing forever. It happens on every road project. Here's what's happening now, though. In the past, when we've dealt with the lenders, we have worked with them to we do all the legwork, we do all the paperwork. We send it to the lender. They have it signed by somebody inside the bank. Oftentimes, the bank would say, you know, if we're going to release our deed of trust as to a small portion of the property, then we expect to be paid some amount of the compensation that's being paid the landowner against the mortgage. That's fair. We get that, and we work with them when we get it done. But now what the lenders are asking, and I've got Trustmark on here because they're one of the worst, they are coming to us saying, we're not even going to look at your paperwork until you pay us to look at it. And then we will tell you whether or not we're going to give a release. So Trustmark is charging us $150.
Do they charge their client like that? If the client were to come in and say, they're fixing to give me $900 for this strip and I need a partial release, would they tell the client, well, pay me?
I don't know the answer to that question. I suspect, Steve, that it depends and goes from bank to bank to bank. But it's probably getting under my skin more than it should for $150. But the very idea that they're going to charge the taxpayers.
Business we do with them.
We just shut down the project.
What we're saying, they're not charging you. They're not charging. They're charging the taxpayers.
They're charging the taxpayers of Rankin County to have somebody in their system look to see whether or not a release of the deed of trust is appropriate.
It's part of the services they provide their borrowers for nothing.
It's basically what this amounts to is charging for the ATM, charging to send you a bank statement, the same kind of garbage that we've all been seeing from banks, where they are extracting fees out of customers because interest rates are low. That's at the bottom line. That's what's going on, and it makes me angry as a tax-paying citizen. And I wanted to bring it to your attention. We had one lender out of state that asked for $350 to do this, and at some point, I think I'm going to come to you guys and I'm going to ask y'all to permit me to file an eminent domain proceeding against the bank. And then we will find out how much they think we need to pay for them to look at a deed of trust. It needs to stop. We need to do whatever we can as a county to let the banks know we don't expect to be charged for this kind of service, especially if we're going to turn around and write a check to them for the amount that is reflective of the deed of trust.
Right. You're gonna pay them anyway.
Yeah. So I just wanted to bring to your attention.
It doesn't come off the top.
So do you need action from us on that?
Well,
Mr.
all we need to do today is I wanted to bring it to your attention and put you on notice that this is what's happening.
And if we don't pay the $150 processing fee,
They're not
going to do the partial release, and we're stuck.
So
Are you
all
picking that partial release up and filing it, or is it their legal people? That's
Actually,
filing
our acquisition agents do a fantastic job for us, Steve. What they do is they coordinate with the bank to get the document. The original document comes back to us. It goes to Ms. Janice. And our process is Ms. Janice and Jessica get together, and it does get recorded, but the bank doesn't ever touch it after they sign it.
Okay.
They're done.
All right. So they have no fees in that. That's not.
No, sir. They don't have any legwork.
But that money isn't applied then or subtracted.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
This goes right to the bottom line of the bank.
Yeah.
This is a fee
That's
to the
kind of
bank.
like if you got an account that's not it's not active. That's
And who's paying the fee? Not the landowner.
Yeah.
That went and got the mortgage.
Yeah.
Me and you are paying that.
And those people sitting out there.
Yeah. So I'm tired of seeing this. I'm sick of it. I'm ready to put a stop to it. But
been very frequent.
Well, this is the third request that we've had from, and that's 3 different banks, 2 out of state and 1 in state. I get the idea that they've got costs associated with how they operate, and it is us asking them to do the release. I get all that. I understand that. It aggravates me. So I'm bringing it to your attention. Mr. President, to answer your question, all I'm asking you to do is to authorize us to pay this $150. The next time we have it, instead of coming with an authority to pay it, I'm going to come and ask you to give me permission to file an eminent domain
all right,
action.
so now you need a motion to pay it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Motion. Second.
All right, so motion by Mr. Gaines, second by Mr. Bishop. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the light sign. So item E passes. Thank you, Mr. Slay.
Strong letter to follow.
Excellent.
Didn't we just do some deal with Trustmart here recently?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
All right, Miss Oster, we're under item 11 now. Do we want to go straight to Mr. Buster right now before that?
That's y'all's
to
call.
get those guys out of here?
Like to do.
Mr. Buster, is that okay with you?
Yes, sir.
We go ahead and get you guys out of here.
All right.
Go ahead. Yes, sir. You got the floor.
Thank you, Matt.
Yes.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Bids, they're all good. It's what the 3 right here, the maps. Still a couple of errors, but it's not enough to change the arrangement of the bidders.
Okay.
I'm going to let you know, if you're wondering why these bids were higher than what we estimated, that is across the board. All throughout the state, we're having this same problem. Contractors are very busy, end up doing a lot of work, and we're seeing that with chip seal, slurry seal, and hot mix asphalt overlays. It's across the board. So it's not just y'all that are people now, okay?
Okay.
The bids are good. The lowest bidder, AJ Construction, is the 8 of them will recommend you work to them.
They're out of where? What was it?
Madison.
Yeah, right.
So, it's good to go.
How much?
Question, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. Mr.
I was
Bishop.
curious, how much more is it above the estimate?
I mean, is this something we're having to come out of pocket to match up with what we've estimated? Is that how it works?
Yeah, that was my next question.
So you,
We're board order already, to increase it by $60,000 to trade funds.
no, you just showed Mr. Moore.
Thank you.
But that is sufficient with the project.
So the estimate is what the state's putting up, and then we fill in the difference?
No, sir. The estimate, we went through it, an engineer comparing to other jobs in the past. We estimated how much this project should cost. Well, all the prices have gone up.
Right.
And that's the reason why it's currently up.
All right, so it looks like AJ Construction is who you recommended
Yes, sir.
to do it,
So
and their cost is $590, whatever.
Their license.
And that, I'm still a little confused, but that money is already set aside anyway, right? And that's gonna be what it's gonna be cost?
The LSBP funds are there, but we need the additional $60,000 from the board.
That's what we were asking.
Okay,
What about-
That's what we were asking. We came up with the difference.
Yeah.
That's what we were asking. Don't we come up with the difference?
So-
Yeah, yeah.
So 60, so we're kicking in 60 to make this deal fly.
The credit is 530, and then we're going to
That's a good deal.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll make a motion to approve.
Unless you want to leave out.
All right, so a motion to approve by Mr. Morrow,
Second.
second by Mr. Morrison. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed with the like sign?
Yep.
Item passes. Need that back, sir? Okay.
All right.
Okay, y'all through, Mr. Buster? Y'all good?
Yes, that's it.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Ms. Oster, we'll move to you on item number 11.
Okay, the first item I have, is to reappoint Jason Womack as the Rankin County representative to the Region 8 Mental Health Commission Board to serve a 4-year term.
Question, Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
Is this kind of like, I know he lives at the reservoir, is this kind of like Daniel's pick, or is this just across the board?
It is
county?
across the board pick. I received a letter from Region 8 asking reappointment, said he'd done an outstanding job, if that is the pleasure of the board.
Does he live at the road? I don't know.
He lives up, I can't, what is it? He lives on the water, and I can't remember what
Palisades?
Palisades. I think he lives in
He's-
Palisades.
I know he's been on the board for
My
a
question
long time.
is, I noticed back in December, there was a little article in the Rankin County News about a pretty hefty fine Region 8 had to pay back to one of the Fed agencies, I believe. I'm not surprised I never got any traction anywhere else. That was like $7 million they had to pay back.
A lot of money.
8 something?
I
You know anything about it?
don't know
Steve?
that it's
Not
finished
any more
yet
than
either.
what I read in the paper.
Yeah, I was.
I don't know any more than what I read either.
Yeah.
That was
It
all.
was the facility in Lee County. The statements that we all read publicly were that it did not affect any of the other component parts of that operation, that there was no impact, from what we were told, on any operations that are ongoing in Rankin County. You guys provide somewhere in the neighborhood of 330, I think it's 330,000 a year in public funding assistance. In exchange for that, we get a pretty significant impact coming our direction.
Right.
The work that goes on with the sheriff, the work that goes on with the court system, evaluating folks that need help, and other community service type things. I think we get a pretty big bang for the buck for that out of Region 8. My thought process is I would hate to see them come and ask us for some significant increase in funding assistance, given that they have had some issues with apparent malfeasance. I would not expect them to come and ask us to help them right the ship on the back of our taxpayers. That's sort of my position on it, but I've not heard anything else.
Me either.
All right.
So Bob, are you on the table this for now, or?
No, I don't have a problem with Jay. I was kind of curious. I mean, I like Jason. I mean, I assume they know what they're doing, but I mean, it was a pretty stiff fine, and I just, and as long as our 300,000 is not tied up into stuff, like, and Craig's already said that, but as long as that our money is, going to where it needs to go, and it would be, but I don't know. I'm good with, moving forward with the appointment. I don't see any reason to table it. I'm just curious more than anything.
The board wishes to entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion to approve.
All right, so motion by Mr. Bishop, second by Mr. Morrison. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign. So item A passes. So item B, Ms. Oster.
Next item is on our misdemeanor facility, and it's approval to pay application number 2 to Flagstar Construction Company in the amount of $130,150 and authority to issue that check.
Okay.
So moved.
So motion by Mr. Morrow, second by Mr. Bishop. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign. So item B passes. Item C, Ms. Oster.
This one is on our new courthouse facility, and it is approval of pay application number 9 to Chris Albritton Construction in the amount of $228,631.14 and authority to issue that check.
Second.
All right, motion by Mr. Morrow, second by Mr. Bishop. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like signs? Item C passes. Item D. Ms.
This
Oster.
is a change order number 3 to the contract on the new Rankin County Courthouse facilities, and it is a deduct in the amount of $37,458.30. And Carl Franco is here if y'all have any questions about.
Well done, Carl.
Deduct is, I would make a motion to approve it.
Why don't we just take that 37 off that 228 we're fixing to write a check for?
Seriously?
Well, it will ultimately be, it reduces, the 37's gonna reduce.
I know, but all that, we can do it right now.
Make it even 200.
People might even believe us.
The problem is, whatever we just saved up 37, that is that Carl's probably just sucked it up by sitting there for the last hour.
I almost wish that was the case, but you're not paying me to sit here.
I'm glad you put that out there for the recorder.
All right, so
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Bishop to approve. Second by Mr. Morrow. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign? So item D passes. Anything else, Ms. Oster?
I don't have anything under additional business. We do have executive session
I have
for
one
personnel.
thing.
Okay.
I have one thing on additional. We've been looking for someone to clean up that lot off of Hickory Hill, and I got a quote to do it, and in fact, I got it yesterday to do it. It's like $3,000. I thought it was very fair. We had trouble finding anybody. Anyway, $3,000 I thought was very fair. He's sending his.
What's the exact property again, just for the?
It's all Hickory Hill. The address is, I forget. I don't know if the address is.
468.
Yeah, it's 467 Hickory Hill Place.
Okay.
It's just as you go past, if you're on Monterey Road and you go past the four-way there, it's there on the left. It's
Okay.
dead end. Remember, it was a dead end. The lady came in here.
Yeah.
Just couldn't afford anything.
All right, so you want to make a motion to put it on the agenda?
Yeah, I want to add this to the agenda.
And since it's less than $5,000, it's not even a two-quote deal. So
Okay.
if y'all are satisfied, Jared, if you're satisfied,
Yeah,
this guy
I
can
thought
handle
it was a
the
good,
work.
reasonable.
So a motion by Mr. Morrison to add it to the
Yeah,
agenda?
I'd like to add this to the agenda.
Second.
Second by Mr. Gaines. Any further discussion?
Yeah, so we are gonna recoup our money, right?
We'll put a,
We'll put a lien on the property for the value of the work that is performed, whatever we write the check for.
it's probably worth more than that, trust me.
We will have the ability to collect it on the taxes.
All right.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign? All right, so now motion to approve.
Second.
Mr.
Wait,
Morrison?
Sure.
She said, you got something to
We want to make sure, Jared, that everything leaves, not just the
say?
metal.
Oh, it's been made clear.
Okay.
It'd be clean.
Ms. Renee, do you have something to add?
No.
You're good. Just tear
She's
stuff
over
up.
trying
over
to fix
it.
the mic. She's having trouble.
All right, so
getting the
motion
mic
to
together.
approve,
Motion to
Mr.
approve, Mr. Moore, by me.
All right.
Yeah. You pointed out, yeah, motion approved. Yeah.
All right, so Mr. Morrow seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign? All right, so additional business, Mr.
Hey,
Bishop?
Buster, we were supposed to advertise Oak Grove this month. So I want to go ahead and move forward. Where are we at?
I believe my discussion with Chris yesterday that he was going to request that at the work session at the end of this month.
Well, why don't we just go ahead and do it today?
What are we doing here? What did you say?
The Oak Grove project, it was in the paper this past week.
About that drainage thing we've
Yeah.
been? I thought we'd done that.
Done it. Well, we voted to do it, but we've been waiting on our plans to get finalized. So can we
correct.
go ahead and do it today? And
That's fine.
all
Yes,
right.
sir.
Make a motion, we add it to the agenda.
Second.
I got two other ones I want to put in front of that one.
All right, so a motion to add it to the agenda by Mr. Morrow, second by Mr. Bishop. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign? So
Motion
motion
to
to
approve.
approve by Mr.
Second.
Morrow, second by Mr. Bishop. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign? All right, anything else additional business-wise?
I think so.
No, we're gonna have executive session for personnel. Okay, so,
Let's just go
Make
ahead.
a motion
Make
to
a
proceed
motion.
on executive session.
all right, so motion by Mr. Bishop, second by Mr. Morrison. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed with the like sign?
All right, thank y'all.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, the Knights, thank you. You have a little problem with that mic over there? It would fall off, she'd stick it on, it fell off again.
Workers, but they seem to be freaking out.
How's been moving early this morning? It's been an early day for me. Early day, wide open. I was in and out of there.
Getting some calls each day for them. Sea power, and they're painting everything and digging holes.
May help us.
Hey, we're gonna hit high speed internet.
Y'all be state of the art, state of the art. Okay, see you, bud.
Exactly. So, but, you know,
Who's the guy back there in the right, in the left corner? Call him Mike now. He's much familiar, can't place him.
we run out of ballots in 2 precincts. Wow. Yeah.
Do what?
Well, it was more than that was the first time. You know, there's a special grant.
You got a grandson, don't you? Sure. Like football?
What was the deal with that?
I did that at the, she used to Saturday morning breakfast back before the
Yeah.
NFL
I
thing.
won 1 year, a couple years ago.
And I can't stand New England, so I picked Philadelphia, you know, and I won. It started out one, but I didn't go the last time.
Oh, I got it. He's a little cutter. You got to be on your A game to keep up with him for a day, but I tell you, for an hour.
All right, Mr. Slade, we ready to go?
Mike, you gonna be around after we get through here? Okay. And I need to get with you too, Mike Word. I need to get with you too about setting up a meeting. I've been putting you off for about 3 months now. Other things going on, so I need to just sit down with you. No, I'll send you a text or email that sets up next week.
Craig, this right here, what I need to do with that?
Just let me take it.
All right, and I can, no, it'll be completely clean.
Good.
And,
How come we still record? Make a motion to go into executive session for personnel reasons
moved.
and litigation?
Motion by Mr. Morrow, second by Mr. Morrison.
Potential litigation.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign. So we are in executive session.